Time for another episode of Ball Python Money Saving Tips and Tricks. Today is the restaurant edition. What's up, everybody? It's Adam from Proper Royals. Thank you for joining me here today. Cheers to you wherever you are. We're always looking for ways to save money and still do things the right way in this hobby. Of course, we always got to take care of our animals and make sure that they're looked after. But if we could save some money, that's more money that we can put towards buying another animal to further our projects and get closer to those dreams and making them come true. I wanted to do a restaurant edition of a money saving tips and tricks and tips episode. I'm just going to leave that one in. I don't even care. That one should go to the blooper reel. It's staying in. Tips and tricks episode. I run restaurants in my career. For the past 25 years, there's not been a time that I haven't been employed in a restaurant. It's what I do. And I feel lucky that some of the things that we use in the restaurant, we're able to use in the ball python hobby. And I found that they really help me out. So I want to share some of these inside tips with you. And let me make clear on all of these. You should offer to buy, pay, help, trade, whatever it is for these services with the restaurants. Don't expect them to just give them to you for free. Take care of your servers, your bartenders, all that stuff. It is tough out there for them right now. It's tough out there for restaurants in this pandemic. Maybe you can help them out a little bit as well. So what I'd recommend is making friends with your local server, local bartender. They know everything. If you know a dishwasher, those men and women know everything as well going on in the restaurant. And what you could do is offer to buy things at cost or to pay the restaurant for them. So for example, gloves. I like using gloves when I clean. I don't like my bare hands and the snake poo and whatnot. Gloves have gotten very expensive, particularly to buy by the box. But these gloves come in cases of 20, 50, and 100 boxes from companies like Cisco Foods that you need to have a commercial account for. And somebody like you or me individually, we probably will never have a need to buy 20 boxes of gloves in one shot. But the restaurants go through these things like crazy. And what you can do is ask if you can buy a box from them at cost. I guarantee if you're a regular, if you buy a beer, if you're known to look after your bartender from time to time, I bet they'll sell them to you and take care of you. Gloves is the first trick and tip of what I would recommend that you could source from restaurants rather than having to buy them at retail, buying by the individual box, okay? The second tip that you might not realize is how important food grade 5-gallon buckets are to restaurants. Any restaurant that you've ever been to that uses pickles, I guarantee you, chances are good that they're buying them in 5-gallon buckets at a time. And these buckets are indestructible. They are made to be banged around, drug in and out on tile floors and all of that. And if it's a high volume restaurant, chances are very good that they have tons of these buckets around. They will probably give you one, but I guarantee if you offer $3, $4, $5 for it, they'll probably take care of you. So pickles and eggs are the most common things that come in these buckets. Check with your local restaurant. I use mine to prep my cocoa. I store my cocoa in here. I prep cocoa once every couple weeks. 5 gallons gets me a long way with the volume of snakes that I have. I only have 16 snakes. Actually, I don't use much cocoa just because of the humidity levels around. So I can stretch out cocoa, but I store it in my 5-gallon bucket. The third tip that I have for you that you might not think of restaurants for is newspaper. Depending on what you use for substrate, I use 1 layer of newspaper and then about a cup of cocoa in my tub setup. So I go through newspaper like crazy, okay? This is our local neighborhood newspaper, community newspaper. A lot of towns and cities have these. Like I know in a big city, like the band, arts, museums, shows, community entertainment, press is usually printed in these sort of sized newspapers. And these are just the perfect size. I'm not suggesting that you go in and you just steal a stack of newspapers, okay? Here's the angle on it. Find out when they get distributed. You can find out from the paper itself, or often that same bartender or store manager or dishwasher is going to know when the guy comes in and drops off cases and cases of newspapers every month or every week, how often it comes. You can also call the paper to find out. The trick is, when that man or woman comes to deliver the paper, get with them and ask them what they do with their papers. If they tell you they just throw them away or recycle them, that's your in right there to say, would you mind if I took some of those off your hands? Generally, in my experience, they tell you take all they want. My local guy, he comes around in a white Buick. I hit him up 3-4 times a year and I have paper for days. The things that I like best about these particular size papers is that they fit the 2 tubs that I use the most just perfectly. Check this out. So this is the 1 page and this is the full page. These are the hefty 18-quart Bocking. And for most of my adults, the majority of them, except for my biggest females, I use the hefty 34-quart Bocking. And these fit just perfectly in here as well. Portion cups. Restaurants live by these portion cups. I don't actually have any to show you the way that it's set up. I know a lot of people use 4-inch PVC cut slices, you take a tube and you slice them, and they use those with portion cup inserts as their water dishes. I myself find that the ceramic water dishes are more economical for me and they work better. These heavy duty portion cups are actually made to be dishwasher safe. They can be reusable and they fit perfectly into those 4-inch PVC segments that people cut for their water dishes. So if you do that, this is a 1 pint container. They also come very commonly in a half pint, so an 8-ounce container for a shallower cup. See if you can offer to buy a sleeve of these. At the restaurant, we buy these in, I bet we buy 500 at a time is what I bet we buy. I think that we get 50 to a sleeve and 10 or 12 sleeves come in a case. So we go through them a lot, and in my experience, I'm happy to sell them if somebody wants them at cost kind of thing, especially if it's a good customer. Your portion cups for your Snake's water dishes. My favorite tip and trick though is this right here. This is a beverage cooler. Restaurants go through fridges. They use fridges everywhere, walk-in fridges. We use full-size top to bottom refrigerators for out on the line when we're cooking on the line. In the server station, a restaurant atmosphere is tough on fridges. They go through these a lot. The problem with fridges is once the compressor goes, it generally is cheaper and makes more sense for the life of the product if it's not still under warranty to just buy a new one. And what that means for the ball python hobby is that there are these fridges that sit on the back dock of restaurants. Here's generally what happens. Restaurant operator goes, you know what? Somebody's gonna want that, somebody's gonna fix it, we'll figure out what to do with it, we'll sell it. Then we get busy and we're not fridge salesmen, we're restaurant operators and we never sell these things. It's like a appliance graveyard in the back of a lot of restaurants. I promise you. Just go check one day. Like peek over the fence. Like just check it out. If you offer to pay for it, make a lowball offer on it because it's not working. Find out if they have one. If they do, offer to pay for it, but they're probably going to tell you, if you're a regular and you're known to look after the staff, they're probably going to say, man, if you can haul it away, it's yours. And check this out. This thing's like new and it's my perfect incubator. This is my incubator. It works great. I've got it outfitted with the heat strips converted. I yanked the guts out of the back of it. The compressor's gone. I never needed it. Didn't matter. Restaurant back docks are like graveyards for old fridges. Ask around, I bet that you find one. So those are some of the best money-saving tips and tricks that I know, particularly from the restaurant industry. I'm always looking for ways to save and be convenient, so drop in the comments. Let me know your favorite ways that you save money on the hobby, and stick around, check out this channel, check out these videos to keep up with what we're doing here at Proper Royals. Thank you for joining me today. See ya.